Hello, everybody. I want to start off with a question. We all know what this is. This. Something very familiar to all of us, the plastic water bottle. How long do you think it takes for one of these to break down in nature? Just blurt it out.
10,000 years.
Louder.
450 to 1,000 years.
Yep, I messed up. It actually takes 450 to up to 1,000 years for one of these bottles to break down. That's a really long time. That's long enough to outlive us, our children, and our children's children, if not longer. I know some of you in the audience might be from Flint, and plastic water bottles are something we can't live without right now. And that's a very sensitive topic and something for a different conversation. But where I'm from in New Jersey, we are lucky enough to have safe running water. So there was no reason that when I was in high school, this is what the back of my car should have looked like. When I took this Snapchat, I thought it was kind of funny. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so sick. I'm so hydrated. I don't know. I found this on my Twitter. And looking back at it now, I didn't realize how sick it actually was. I didn't realize how sick I was making my environment. I was in this insane habit of consuming. I would wake up in the morning, on my way to school, grab a water bottle. And then I would go to the gym, grab another one. I'd stop at the store to buy a little tube of mascara, throw that into a plastic bag. At the end of every week, I had this much plastic in the back of my car. If you asked me back then, I would have told you, I'm a huge environmental advocate. Yeah, I love nature. I go hiking all the time, I never litter, and I always recycle, if it's convenient. But here I am, with all this plastic. I was lucky enough to go on a study abroad trip to Belize, where we spent our days walking up and down the beaches, looking for turtle tracks so we could protect them as they nested. We even ended up catching a turtle and glued a GPS to her back so we could further protect the species in the future. But when I first got to the beach in Belize, there was one thing I couldn't look past, and it was how much plastic had washed up onto the land. And day after day, we would come back to the beaches, cleaning up the trash, and there was always more. What shocked me even more was once I picked up a shampoo bottle that had French writing on it. That's when it really clicked. I realized that this stuff is circulating. And I thought to myself, if this is just what's washing up on the beach, how much is actually out there? My teachers and the locals informed me and the other students on this trip all the terrible things that can happen when plastic ends up in the water. Turtles, for instance. Baby turtles can get stuck in piles of trash on their way to the ocean after hatching. Once they're in the water, they can mistake plastic bags as jellyfish. They can eat them, and it gets stuck in their stomach, and they can end up starving after the plastic gets stuck in their stomach. Then also, plastic straws can get stuck in a turtle's nose, and some of you may have seen that terrible video circulating Facebook. Yeah. These plastics, like I stated before, take thousands of years to break down. And they don't biodegrade naturally. They actually break up into smaller pieces called microplastics. And this is the most harmful type of ocean plastic because we can't see it. They break down even smaller than this picture. We can't really clean it up. And it might not seem like that big of a deal at first, but these microplastics absorb toxins that are already found in the ocean, such as chemicals and pesticides. And these plastics get unknowingly ingested by marine life. They bioaccumulate up the food chain and ultimately end up on our plate. So after learning all of this, I realized there's something I had to do. I couldn't keep promoting this plastic lifestyle that I was living. So I did some research, and I found a lot of inspiration from zero waste bloggers such as there we go, Bea Johnson and Lauren Singer, who not only found ways to cut plastic out of their life, but all non-recyclable waste, which is so cool. They can fill up a little mason jar over like 4 years with trash that they produce. And I wanted to take on the challenge, so I started small because I didn't want to scare myself away from this big goal of zero waste. And I cut out things like single-use plastics such as cutlery, straws, coffee mugs, and water bottles. And after doing this for about a year, I realized that it was easy to implement these little changes into my lifestyle. And the more I looked at my life, the more plastic I saw. It was in my bathroom, it was in my shower, it was in my kitchen. And so I took a step forward and I moved towards more sustainable options, such as buying shampoo and conditioner completely package free. You can buy shampoo bars like regular shampoo, or instead of plastic bottle. Instead of a plastic instead of a plastic razor blade, I use a safety razor that has a recyclable blade. When I go shopping, I buy food in bulk. I bring my own jars and bags to the store. So that's a lot of information, and I like to break it down into these 5 R's that I took from Bea Johnson's book. We do refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. Refusing is super easy. You just don't take what you don't need. Reducing is reducing the amount of things you take, living with less. Reuse the things you already have. I like to think of this as like an old jar. Take it to the bulk section instead of having to buy something in packaging. And recycle what you can no longer find a use for. If you break that jar, you can recycle it. And lastly, rot. This is huge. This would be food scraps and things that break down in nature you can compost. And so you're probably thinking, well, you're just one person and this is a lot of little tedious decisions. But these decisions start conversations. And since I started sharing my journey towards zero waste, I've had a lot of conversations with friends, family, strangers, even Joe Gatto. And they reach out to me to say how I've opened their eyes to plastic pollution and how they've implemented little changes. And all these little changes add up to make big differences. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but things have been happening in the news. We're banning straws. We're getting rid of single-use items. So this conference is about being a hero, and I don't see myself as a hero, but the zero waste, plastic-free movement has given us all the option to be little everyday heroes. Because the choices we make today are the choices that shape the future, and the future for generations to come. So I'm going to finish off with one last question. What type of mark do you want to leave on our planet? Because personally, I'd like to leave it better than we found it. Thank you.
The Hero Roundtables are the global events that ask the question, what is a hero? You've just seen one hero talk. To find more and join the conversation, visit our website or social media.